Hey everybody, Coach Kyle here coming at you from Kabuki Studios. Previously we filmed 3-part on elbow pain. Today we're going to talk the first of 3 series on foot pain. Pretty common, people have foot pain from a number of different areas. We don't like to diagnose, I'm not your doctor, I haven't seen your foot. However, we'll call it dysfunction. There's a lot of syndromes out there too. Shin splints, plantar issues, plantar fasciitis, things like that. What we're going to do over this 3-part series is show you a way to A, use your foot with good footwork, right? One of our staples here at Kabuki, just use your foot well. We'll show you some stretches you can do. We're going to show you some specific foot strengthening tools. Later on in part 2, we're going to show you how you can do a lot of the soft tissue work to yourself with some of our tools and other ones. And then lastly, part 3 will be a little bit more of a partner-assisted or clinical series if you have help or as a practitioner, things you guys can do to your clients. So first and foremost, we have to talk rooting. If you followed us for any point in time, you know rooting is one of our mainstays. There's plenty of videos on it. I'm not going to get into it, but no matter what I show you, if you're not rooting well, if your foot's not tracking well when you're walking or squatting, you're going to have a bunch of problems for a long time. So if you need more resources on it, follow the Instagram page if you're not already, and definitely check out kabuki.ms. The next thing we're going to highlight real quick, obviously, is foot love. Everybody knows Chris for foot love. If not, just Google it or find it on Instagram. A great way to start to warm up that foot and make sure those toes are wide enough, whether you're using a toe stretcher or not, is just get those fingers between those toes. We're going to articulate those a little bit. Notice I'm almost also trying to scrub these bones through here as well. So the entire foot I'm starting to mobilize and massage slightly. The next, one of our other favorites from Kabuki.ms and our seminar series is a Band X rooting drill. Again, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time with it because you can find videos specific to it. However, to get into it, I'm basically going to slip this through. Pinky toes. I have an X. It's pulling little toe and pinky toe up. This one's a little too much over here, so I'm going to take one out. Common thing we have to do. And I'm just going to warm up my squats. Really great way to make sure all the musculature is doing its job. One of our mainstays for sure. So don't forget it. The next one would be with our floss. Self-rooting assessment. Also one of our mainstays. If I commonly roll the outside, I'm going to put it on the inside. If I roll the other way, obviously I'm going to put it there. For more in-depth, follow up on that video. Another great warm-up drill before I squat or deadlift. I'm going to place that under the foot, part of the foot that likes to leave the ground, and I'm going to go through my squats or deadlifts. Obviously, if I miss, band's going to shoot up. Tactile cue, I know I've missed. So next, we talk about how do we start to strengthen and stretch the foot. Well, A, it's very important that we do things barefoot. Now, you might be at home or in a home gym. That's easy. When I get back to a commercial gym, or if you're in a commercial gym, you may not always be able to squat, deadlift, do accessories barefoot. So there's plenty of shoes out there, obviously, that are minimalist. They become a lot more popular. Point of conversation today is not to talk about shoes and what shoes we recommend. However, I'm going to highlight that real quick. If shoes are designed for function over aesthetics, right? If they're designed for aesthetics, they're not going to help your foot. We need, if you have foot pain, we need a shoe that's going to help you get your foot stronger and actually be able to use a wide base of support. Obviously, that being said, we're a fan of minimalist shoes. I own a pair, just actually ordered my first pair of barefoot athletic shoes. They're not the only one out there. If you followed us for some time, you're probably aware of barefoot athletics. Really, any shoe that works for you, that allows your foot to be wide and flat and doesn't have a bunch of arch support is what we're looking for. Two great places for you to utilize your foot, whether you're in minimalist shoes or barefoot, is your accessory. If you're not comfortable squatting or deadlifting barefoot at first, do your accessories barefoot. Do your calf raises, your tricep extensions. Start to use your foot more frequently barefoot. Goes on to lifters real quick. If you're wearing Olympic lifting shoes with a raise in the heel, we ask that you warm up barefoot, do the drills we just talked about, and then we're going to show, and then halfway to your working weight or so, put your Olympic lifting shoes on, repeat the weight, and keep going. That way you've warmed up your foot really well before you're getting into a super hard, stiff sole. So let's move on to the meat and potatoes today, and let's talk stretches. It's really important that when we have anything affecting the foot we take care of all the musculature that passes through the ankle. Most people know how to stretch their foot and their calf muscle well, but it's really important that we do with both a bent leg and a straight leg because of the attachment on our calf muscles. I don't care whether this is a stretch in this position or this position. To me, they're about the same. One might feel better, go ahead and use it. The important part is to make sure that you're stretching the calf, once again with a bent leg and a straight leg. Most people will feel a big difference between one of those stretches. As in, straight leg, I don't feel much. I go to bent leg, and immediately it's a lot tighter. Next, we're going to move back to the chair. Highlight some of our other tools. Anything works. AccuMobility ball is great. Baby boomstick, they all work really well. We need to stretch the big toe by itself. Flexor hallucis longus is a really important muscle in balance and propelling us as we walk, run, sprint. It's not a big muscle, but it does a lot of important stuff for our feet. So it's important that we stretch that big toe by itself no matter what object we're using it on. The little toes can be stretched really easy here in a seated position. If you don't have an object, just reach up and pull onto those toes. Then let's go ahead and move into strengthening. So we've stretched most everything except tibialis anterior. So right before we get into strength, let's make sure we're stretching out the front side of that as well. If you have fairly large calves, sitting on them is not going to give you much of a stretch through tibialis anterior unless it's really tight. So we can kind of work to roll that out of position. And now I'm going to work to sink my hips between my legs as opposed to sitting on them. Really going to increase the mobility of the anterior side of the foot and ankle. That takes care of most of the important stretches. You probably already know some of these. Maybe it's just the difference in the variation, stretching the big toe by itself or standing calf raise with a bent leg versus a straight leg. So once again, when we talk strengthening of the foot, we're big on it. I'm sorry, I have to highlight it again. You need to be barefoot. You need to do some activity barefoot or in a minimalist shoe, deadlift, slippers, socks, things like that. The more you can walk around your house, lift, do accessory work, work in the garden, things like that, your foot's just going to get stronger, doing the things that it's supposed to do. How can we take care of the rest of the musculature? Well, once again, we need to do calf raises. I won't spend a ton of time talking calf raises. Most people can figure it out. We've highlighted a couple of videos as well on how to do calf raises. The important thing I have to note here, if you have foot pain, you probably already guessed it, we need to do it two different ways, straight leg and bent leg. I don't care whether this is body weight, holding a kettlebell in a calf raise machine, holding the top, controlling full range of motion, holding that deep stretch at the bottom. That's why I'm on an elevated surface here, so we can actually get that deep stretch. Calf raises also need to be done with a bent leg. As silly as it feels without a machine, you can simply bend your leg and go through the same range of motion. If you're in a commercial gym or a gym that has multiple calf machines, you're blessed. You could do these single leg, donkey calf raises, seated calf raises, all kinds of fun stuff. Next, this one can be done pretty well at home with minimal material, as you'll see. I also really like this drill because we can easily vary load. I picked a 2.5 and a 5-pound plate. We'll see if I can slide this here on carpet. It's going to be a little bit stickier, but you guys will get the gist of it. The other one I really like is soup cans. You can tell what they weigh. A bottle of water, easy to add weight until you work into plates. This drill can be incredibly hard. I won't bore you with the minutes it's going to take me here to pull this towards myself. This is really good for strengthening the arch if you have pain in the bottom of the foot. Once I've reached it, I don't have to push the plate back, but I'm going to do as many reps out as I did in. If it took me 10 reps to pull that towel in, I just want to balance that out and push for 10 reps as well. Super important strengthening drill, maybe the most important for the bottom of the foot we've talked about yet, other than just being active and being barefoot. A band works pretty good for that as well, because we can definitely highlight that muscle we talked about, flexor hallucis longus. And it's just repetitions. Interestingly enough, you can see where the band with resistance, my toes wanting to come across the midline. I would actually like it to be pulled out. As I pull down on my toe, it's not as strong as I thought it was, and it wants to pull in. A very strong toe, there's a better example, if I did this drill a lot, would be able to push out and down. Same thing could easily be done with the little toes. Any resistance band work. I prefer the towel, but just another great variation for the bottom of your foot. Lastly, taking care of the other side, just because we want things balanced out. This one's fun. It can be some great core training, stability for the ankle as well. We're going to get on a Swiss ball. Extra credit core training. If your ankle is weak, you're probably not going to progress to this right away. Just going through the motion from a position like this can be enough. As I come up, probably maintaining a good brace here just for extra credit. But I'm actually working to roll my ankle and my toes all the way over. I could just work toe flexion and extension, but I might as well get both of them at the same time. More bang for my buck. Give a quick rest here because that's pretty challenging. I'm going to show a 1 foot variation. I used to work these for a lot of reps when I was kickboxing more to strengthen my ankle and my foot. The last couple of times I've done them, 2 to 3 reps is pretty challenging. So we just did a double foot variation. You might find that that's pretty easy pretty quickly. So then we're just going to work to a single foot variation. Make sure you're working to roll toes and ankle all the way over. Just toes, challenging, roll toes and ankle all the way over. So to recap, our goal is not to diagnose your foot pain. Our goal is to teach you how to utilize your foot better and strengthen and stretch everything you need. We have a bunch of drills from kabuki.ms and our seminar series, so follow those, but this is a great way to get you started with the stretches and the strengthening tools you need to help alleviate some ankle and foot pain.